Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with something absolutely amazing. We have ourselves a brand new Aulita Heroes release, but it's not just any Aulita Heroes release. This is the very first time we've had a dinosaur that is very clearly based on some form of media, and it's a doozy because we have the Carnosaur T-Rex. How amazing is that? I had no idea just until recently that this is something that they were working on, and now that it has been revealed, and not only that, is now here on my review station, I am so over the moon excited about it. Man, did they ever do a great job on this. It very much so looks just as the Carnosaur T-Rex looks in the film, if you ask me, especially when it comes to the head sculpt. I think that head sculpt is so spot on. It's insane. This thing is so nice. And when it comes to an articulated version, there's only one other one out there, and that would have been the Arctic Figures version, and we know how that turned out. So it's great to now have a new option from Aulita Heroes, and I must say, this might be my favorite figure that they have produced so far. The only thing, I almost wish that there was the larger version. Like, they usually produce these big figures. I would love to have a larger version of this T-Rex in my collection because, again, I am such a huge fan of the Carnosaur movies. Ever since I was a kid, I have just loved those movies. And yes, I know that they're kind of gory and stuff, and I probably shouldn't have been watching them as a child, but I did, and I absolutely adore those movies. So anytime there's a new Carnosaur T-Rex out, I am so excited about it, especially one that looks as good as this. So I'm going to go ahead and readjust the camera here just for a moment so we can bring this in and get a nice closer look. And another thing that's really cool about this is you can see we have a much smaller size range than a lot of the older Aulita Heroes releases. So a brand new size range to their line as well. But starting here in the head sculpt, you can really see that Aulita Heroes has captured the overall appearance to the head sculpt perfectly for this T-Rex. Like, that looks like it came straight out of the screen. It is so good and looks so darn nice. The skin texture also, again, not only looks picture perfect, but also looks really good on the figure. And the paint apps from Aulita Heroes is fantastic on this figure. And as you can see, they've really captured the likeness of the T-Rex, not just in the sculpt, but the paint apps as well. We have very nice dark tones here in the face, a few varying tones of darker tones here in the face. We can also see the eye in there. It is a blue eye, and you've also got a nice little white spot there to kind of give it the eye shine. We can see the nostrils there, the ears as well on the head sculpt of the T-Rex. It just looks so ridiculously awesome. Even the kind of like wrinkles to the skin that you see in the neck, as well as that little bit of bulkiness in the throat, all signature aspects of the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Carnosaur. Of course, being an Aulita Heroes figure, it does feature articulation. One area that does articulate is the jaw. Now, unfortunately, because of the bulkiness of the throat, you don't have a whole lot of articulation in the jaw, but you can see it does open a little bit and then, of course, closes. There's just not a whole lot of wiggle room when it comes to that jaw. But we can see we have some nice red and pinkish tones there for the inside of the mouth. We can also see the teeth and everything there on the inside of the mouth. They are painted as well, which gives the dinosaur that kind of dark and gritty feel, which is also, again, pretty much the way that the dinosaurs are portrayed in Carnosaur. So I feel like it, really fits the Aulita Heroes style to have a Carnosaur T-Rex, and I would love to see more Carnosaur dinosaurs again from Aulita Heroes in the future. As we lead down, we can see like some reddish browns and stuff picking up in the neck. You can also see a lighter tone moving down along the underside of the throat. We do have neck articulation, so you can turn the head and neck of the T-Rex really quite nicely, left and right. Works really smoothly. We can also go up and then go down a little ways as well. So you have a little bit of wiggle room in that area when it comes to the articulation as well. As you lead down into the body, you do see that striping effect, which again is exactly as you would see for the Carnosaur T-Rex. The skin texture continues to look really nice and really impressive moving down. You've got the spinal column there following along the back of the dinosaur. We can see that kind of pudgy belly, which again is also a trademark of the Carnosaur Rex. As you lead around here to the front, we've got the arms sculpted out. As you lead down, you can kind of make out some musculature, the elbow, as well as the, of course, two fingers for the Tyrannosaurus. The claws are painted with a black, and you can articulate the arms as well, so they can go up and down. They can also come out away from the body. So you can get the arms held out away from the body like that, and then bring them back in. And again, both arms, of course, move up and down like you would expect. As you lead down again, we see the opposing side here, the really nice looking paintwork. We can also see variations to the browns and reddish browns that we have on the body. Moving down into the leg, we've got the musculature as well as some more nice looking skin texture. You can see the knee in the front of the leg, calf muscle back there. And as you lead down into the foot sculpt, you've got some scoots down the toes. Also the claws painted with a black. And then, of course, we do have articulation in the legs. They can go forward and back really nicely. They can actually get some pretty impressive display and movements there. You can also, of course, see we have knee articulation forward and back in that area. And then you can also articulate the ankles forward and back. So again, giving you really nice posability. And you can actually swivel them as well, which you can. So you can completely swivel the ankles around if you would like. And then you lead out into the tail, and as you lead out, you have more of that striping effect, more of the variations of browns, as well as more really impressive skin texture, super smooth transitions to the underside of the figure as well. Nice like pinkish and reddish tones that show up. There's always just so much color on the Aulita Heroes figures that is, again, super impressive to me. And of course, you also have tail articulation. You can see you've got a few joints of articulation as you move out. You can get that tail left and right and up and down as well, just to give it a little bit of articulation. You don't have a whole lot of range of movement out there in the tail, but definitely a little bit. And you can also swivel these parts as well. So you can get, you know, like twists to the tail and everything like that. But that is absolutely awesome. I'm so excited to have a new Carnosaur T-Rex in my collection. They're so few and far between, and the movie does not get near as much love as, you know, a big fan like I would hope. So it's, again, super, super cool to not only have a new Carnosaur figure, but to have one from Aulita Heroes. As far as the size goes, for a length from the tail to the snout, about 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters. And then for a height, just a hair under 3 3/4 inches or around 9.5 centimeters, but you could probably get him standing a little bit taller if you wanted. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day Human Being next to our Aulita Heroes Carnosaur T-Rex, and as you can see, it's definitely quite small. Overall, it is the smallest for sure of the Aulita Heroes dinosaurs that I have had up until this point. And you very much so can see how small it is as it's standing there almost like in the exact same height as Mr. Robert Muldoon over there next to Mr. Papo T-Rex. They're pretty much the same height, so if you do have a Mattel human being, you're going to have a pretty good idea of the size, roughly height-wise anyway, of this T-Rex. And here is a comparison next to a standard Mattel Velociraptor, and you can see that these two are kind of similar in size, honestly. The Raptor is just slightly larger. So when it comes to this Carnosaur T-Rex, I feel like it should give you a pretty good idea of the size. I don't think I really need more comparisons past this point because, you know, the other Carnosaur figures that I have, like the version from Creature Preacher, who is one of the others who have actually made one, his is gigantic. And then, of course, there's the Arctic Figures version, which clearly that's not something that you can readily buy anymore. And if you could buy it from Arctic Figures, I wouldn't recommend that you do. But we can see again that this version is significantly smaller than any Carnosaur T-Rex I've had before. So Aulita Heroes absolutely knocked this one out of the park, if you ask me, and this is by far one of, if not my favorite releases from them. I always love their figures. I love their very gritty, kind of like horror movie feel that their figures always have. And for some reason, I just never really put two and two together to really realize how darn nice an Aulita Heroes Carnosaur T-Rex would mesh and how well it would just fit in with their line. And it really does. I'm also really impressed with Aulita Heroes as a whole when it comes to their ability to capture screen accuracy. Since I've never seen them take a chance at sculpting a dinosaur that's from, like, you know, some form of media prior to this, it's impressive to see just how picture perfect looking. They really nailed the sculpt on this, especially in the head area and the body and everything. Like, it looks so darn nice overall. And again, I would love to see them do more of this in the future. Maybe like a Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex or the Deinonychus from Carnosaur, something like that. I would love to see them make. The paint apps are also fantastic. They're really nice and naturally applied, really smooth transition and patterns and stuff, and the nice dark tones again that you would expect to see on the Carnosaur T-Rex. And it does, of course, feature some fun articulation on top of everything and a really nice smaller size. Unfortunately, I think the last time I had checked, these were sold out currently, but you absolutely need to be following Aulita Heroes so that when they do stock this again, which it may already be up by now, you can grab them right away. So make sure you check the links that I will include in the description. Make sure you're following them. Grab this when it does go up again, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.